If one of the dancers leave, how many dancers will be left? What will happen if they lose or if they win a game? So it's like it brings things which I enjoy in life to help me understand mathematics.
Can you now use it for other subjects?
I'm interested in astronomy because, what is the distance from Earth to Sun is in miles, and miles are in conversions. Miles you can convert to kilometers, which is just maths. You can see that astronomy is also like maths.
You have a family of child prodigies. Is it 4 or 5 children you
Five
have?
children.
5 children. Is this something that is a passion for you to encourage other future geniuses too? Are we going to see Francis and Deborah also going to Oxford and Cambridge before they hit 15 or something?
Absolutely. Yeah, I make a decision. Either you keep it in the family, in which case you exclude everybody, or you share it in the community and build our community of boys and girls that will grow up to be confident young men and women, develop and contribute to our society. Because quite honestly, I'm tired of hearing negative news about our community, our boys and girls. If you can build confidence, whether they become engineers or mathematicians or doctors or astronauts, doesn't really matter. But the fact that the talent in them is discovered and developed.
Is it, though, that Deborah and Francis, as examples of the children who are in your school, I know you have many others, is it that they are innately brilliant and you've just brought out the brilliance in them, the genius in them? Or can you nurture this talent in so many
If
other...
you give me anybody on the planet Earth, every single human being has in them deposits of talents. What I'm interested in is exploring and finding that talent so that it can be developed. So every single child that you've ever seen at the age of 4 is a genius. It's only when we are unable to either identify that genius or develop that genius, or our society suppresses that genius for one reason or the other. That's when they now become, failures. Nobody has ever created a failure.
Can this, your model, can it be used in other parts of the world and also for other years? Are there children who maybe are 15 who are in, Lagos or, Lusaka or Lilongwe? Can you also nurture that talent in them?
We have parents right now that are from all over Africa that have gone to our website, the excellenceineducation.org.uk website, that have emailed us, and we just send them video clip, we send them links, and they've seen dramatic improvement in the lives and performance of their children. Before they said, no, you're a girl, don't do maths, or you should do literature. Those are gender stereotypes that have no foundations whatsoever in fact. If you're a girl and you cook, I can tell you clearly, you're a chemist. Because for you to mix one solution and catalyze it with heat, of course you're a chemist. If you're a woman and you have to budget for home, you're a mathematician. If not, you run at a loss. So if we break the barriers and say, look, there are no gender preferences in abilities, let every girl hearing me know that inside her there's a mathematician. Everybody is on a learning journey. The only time you stop learning is when you have a death certificate.
I have a dream.
What is your dream?
Well, I actually want to be an astronaut.
So I'll just come mark. I say I'm typing this. This is
Fantastic.
live.
And you, Deborah?
I want to be
And
a
then after the person comes,
gynecologist
I'll call it quits.
because the feeling of
After the person
helping
comes,
people
I'll
is
stop
really
something
good.
and I'll start teaching.
Deborah
Because
and
my
Francis,
up to
Deborah
now, I
and
don't know
Francis,
what
they're
happened.
two of the students of
My
Dr.
this
Chris
thing is not logged into.
Imafidon,
It's
who's
not allowed.
passed
It's
on
not
math skills and other skills to those children and other successful students in his Excellence in
No, they can't.
Education programme.
If you want to make a full-time income from home working part-time, you need to know this one concept, because there is a new and better way to make money in UK real estate without ever buying houses and being a landlord. You never get any loans. You don't need to buy.
Okay, thank you very much.
1706
Thanks for sharing
GMT
that with us.
BBC
We're
World
just going to move on.
Service. Coming
If
up,
you're on this
father who's
call,
developed a
thank you
teaching
for those of
method
you
that has
that have
helped all
already
5 of his children.
signified your interest in journey. And I think most of us are quite unaware of how powerful the new tool is. I think probably because we didn't pay for it. Because if we had to subscribe based on value, if we had to subscribe based on value to what AI tools we are using, we'll have a better understanding of it. I think the reason is coming from the fact that none of us have been given the opportunity to explore what can be done with the tool. I'll give a quick example. Each time you're in a car, you already know the make and the model of that car, right? And along with the car came the manufacturer's handbook, specifying whether the car is diesel or petrol or electric. There are new type of cars coming up now, like the hydrogen car. Now, each car has its own restrictions and capability. And when you look at the dashboard, it tells you the maximum speed the car can do on your odometer. So you're aware of what that car can do for you. If we move that to LLMs and large language models, AIs that we have, AI tools that we have, or even move that to any other AI tool. It doesn't have to be LLMs, any other AI tool. Most of us are just doing what's called trial and error. If we understood the sheer power of the weakest AI tool, our views about passing exams, topping the class in every single exam that relies on memory. Remember, most times, exam is nothing but a simple test of your memory, how much you can recall. And other times, logic. Nothing else is tested. Nothing else at undergraduate level, at master's level, at primary level. This is a universal truism. When they put you in a room and give you some questions and ask you to answer them and call that an examination, what they really are doing is assessing how much you remember. So if you've got a great memory, you remember a lot of things, and therefore you're most likely going to be successful. If you understand what logic, then you're able to get top marks. So today, we're going to show you that using the tools that our grandparents used, and then they passed them to us, is solely inadequate. So at the Excellence in Education program, we take it upon ourselves to never ever use the same tool in 2 consecutive years. We never. So the tools and the techniques we're using now will be different in 2026. And it was different from the ones we used in 2022 or 2023. Because we found out that for efficiency, you got to use new tools. You can't stick to the same old tools as before. You can't. You just can't. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show anyone on this call that even if you're a business, the productivity of your team at work will quadruple if you give your team at work a different set of tools that has to do with either reading, because every single professional job, if you're a lawyer, it doesn't matter, you have to read. If you're a doctor, you have to read. If you're a trainer, you have to read. All of us have to read. Now, but the way we read is based on what they taught us in primary school, to read one word at a time. Just give you a quick example. And that's why we have unread emails. Because our speed of reading is very slow. It's based on things of yesteryears. But using the AI tools that are available, you can very easily indeed, turn things around. So I'm going to share a link now of a recent conversation I had. Is useful because any subject you find difficult, any concept you find difficult, is already broken down. I don't know whether Mark can share his screen. I wanted to just give a prompt to Perplexity, one of the tools that most of you are not familiar with, but it's a great AI tool for study. So if you go into Perplexity, for instance, and say, I am studying, or I'm a student of GCSE mathematics. This can be A level, by the way, mathematics. And it's my desire to get the highest marks in the summer exams. So, period. And say, therefore, assume the personality of Professor Chris Imafidon, the chair of the Excellence in Education program. And coach me so that I can exceed all his students, all his best students. In the performance of my next set of exams. And then you can hit the arrow button and then just see what happens. Those of you that have your wristwatches with you, please, can you put on your and see how many minutes it's going to take in terms of seconds to tell you exactly what you need to do. Now, it tells you in seconds. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that the AI is the best teacher you can ever have. You know, sometimes you want to be able to ask your teacher a direct question, and because he's not in class or because the class is ended, you don't have access to that teacher. Now, AI, especially if you're very conversant with large language models, has the capability to give you exactly what the best teacher in your field will give you, not just what the average teacher will give you, not the best teacher in your school or in your county or in your country or in your state or in your continent, no, in the world. So can you see the output now? It tells you essentially what I've been saying. So you didn't need to have come to this class. Essentially, okay, now it says every student, look at the approach. It said the excellence in education approach is personalized. This is what the genius formula is saying. Look at the output. It said, how is it that some people are able to achieve more than others? And you just ask now your LLM. And what does the LLM do? The LLM goes and cleans up what is available, digs up what has ever been said by this person, about this person, and students of this person. And it tells you, look at what it says there. It says, this is the excellence in education approach. Our belief is that every child can excel. Remember the BBC interview? Regardless of your background, your so-called previous ability, your learning system and mindset are far more important than your so-called quote-unquote natural ability. And then it says, learning is a game. And then it gives the example of mathematics being fun if you approach it as a game. And then uses real life examples like in sports, music. We're able to bring that into the classroom and use that as a tool to explain huge things. Okay, so that was just with GCSE. You can screen capture this, by the way. You can screen capture this. And another thing, I think we can stop sharing now. Another thing that most schools discourage. That means they tell you, don't do it. All right? They give you the impression that you are cheating if you use AI for essays and coursework, and therefore you carry the mentality to saying, therefore, if I use it to perform my exams, I probably am doing something wrong. No, you're not doing anything wrong. You are doing the right thing. The school is doing the wrong thing, period. And time will tell. I'm ready to confront any old traditional way of thinking, because we used to use what is called the index of books and journals to find the information we're looking for. So if you're looking for any information about photosynthesis, you go to the back of the book and look for P. And under P, you see pH, and then see PHO, and then photosynthesis. And then there'll be names or sub-names associated with photosynthesis, and the number will be put next to them. If you turn, that number indicates the page where you read about photosynthesis. I hope everybody's getting this right. The index told you what part of the textbook to go and read for a particular topic. Because sometimes you check under contents, you won't see them under contents, so you can use the index. Until something called yahoo.com came up. I can remember it very clearly, as if it was yesterday. 1998, 1997, we had what is called Yahoo. So instead of looking for the index, we then typed the keyword inside our browser, and then it now gave us links to where to get that information. Let me say this slowly. Everyone on this call, if you pick up an old book, you will see that in front, there's a title and the name of the author. The next page, it gives you more of the author. The third and the fourth or fifth page gives you the table of contents. So if you wanted to read about one specific topic, you went through the chapters and then picked up the chapter. Now, if it's not in the chapter because it's a smaller concept, it's a sub-concept, you go to the back of the book called index. So you look for that keyword in the index section, and they now told you where the pages that make reference to that keyword is. And so you read that section and then you understood it. Or if you didn't understand it, tough. Until we had what we call an electronic index system that indexed all the websites that has something to say about a topic. So instead of going with your finger from one book to the other, now you don't need books. You just needed a browser, because all the things about your topic you wanted to read was not available to you. Okay, that's it. I hope everybody got that now. So it was quicker, it was easier, it was like cheating when you used Yahoo in 1998. Later, Yahoo was superseded by other search engines like Google. So now everybody uses Google to look for any relevant information to a particular topic. So you don't have to go through the whole library looking for what specific information you needed. So I hope we've gotten that. Then stepping now, in 2007, 2008, they had what we would call today AI, but what was called then artificial neural networks. With artificial neural networks, it not only showed you photosynthesis, but it tested you on what photosynthesis is. And then if you didn't get it right, it gave you another portion to go and read. And that was why EIE then in 2009 reviewed, and in 2010 adopted, and in 2011 deployed Manga High. Manga High was the rudimentary AI tool given to every single student that registered on the Excellence in Education program. So you were given a username and a password, So with your username and the password was specific to you. So even if you had a junior brother or a senior brother or junior sister or senior brother, it didn't matter. Each person had their own. And you were given tasks, and it looked much more like a game. So you had ice creams as icons for additions, multiplication, or division. If you haven't used Manga, you probably might find this as alien. But every single person that hated maths, when they were given the username and password of Manga, absolutely loved it because they were playing games. And there is not one single department right now, be it chemistry, biology, law, engineering, medicine, that same principle cannot be applied to. Gamified learning. So every single thing you want to learn can be gamified. And if you gamify it, it means you can do it over and over again. And they say repetition is the mother of all learning. So when you've repeated it, you are able to learn a lot more. So I'm going to pull up again. I'm going to put another prompt on Perplexity in a minute that is specific to the SAT exams in the US and how you, if you were studying for SAT, or if you knew somebody that was studying for SAT, or you were confronting SAT and afraid to get involved in writing the exam because you heard horror stories of people that have written the exam and have been unsuccessful. And so you just assume that it's impossible for anyone to do SAT and get the perfect score. So, Mark, I don't know whether you're able to fire up. If you have access to Grok, you can file Grok. If not, we can use Perplexity again to specifically show that the work you're doing manually, you continue with the same conversation? I thought you were continuing with, or you're opening a new browser, a new tab. Okay, yes, let's continue with the same conversation. That way, it helps you to retain his memory, and it can bring in previous searches to bear. Okay, now, so we're putting in here, the prompt is that I find preparing for my SAT entrance exams daunting or difficult. Daunting or difficult. And I've heard that most students who sat the exams from the Excellence in Education program achieved perfect score. I mean, they got 100%. From the Excellence in Education program, achieved perfect scores. That means they got the highest possible marks in every section of each of the papers that it wrote. Please, I need some guidance on how to improve my score and possibly equal their performance. I'm prepared to change my tools, my techniques, and my technology, as well as my thinking. So provide me with the best possible tutelage and support given to past record-breaking EIE students who were mentored by Professor Chris Imafidon. Can you see how specific this is? EIE students who were mentored by Professor Chris Imafidon. So you're literally just asking the, okay, thank you. So you hit it now, look at the answer there. Can you see the plan? It's giving you the plan. It's giving you the plan. It's giving you exactly what to do. 20 years ago, you will have had to go meet the person that did it and hope that you can have the opportunity to discuss with them and see how you can channel their wisdom to your situation. One thing that most students that do SAT, let me be very blunt. If you're doing SAT or you're doing this or you're writing a similar exam, is time management. One of the biggest headache is that they know the answers to the questions, but however, they did not or could not cover all the questions. I mean, they could not answer all the questions that they were asked. Yes, please do a screenshot. Everyone do a screenshot of what you're seeing. I'm happy for you to do a screenshot. Do a screenshot if you think that is what's contained in the screen might be of help to you or somebody you know. And you are free to share it. Just share it. Thank you. Yes, those of you on Clubhouse and those of you on Twitter Spaces, you are unable to see what all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Instagram, and even Zoom are saying. You are not able to see it. But if you type the same prompt, you will be able to get the same results. Now, if you're on YouTube, please, if you go to the comment section and modify this prompt for yours. So instead of typing SAT scores, you type your own first year undergraduate score or GCSE score, or I want you to substitute the name of your exam now so that it's personal to you. It's specific to your postgraduate or undergraduate exams. In TOEFL, for instance, if you're hoping to write a postgraduate exam on tort law or contract law or mathematical engineering, it doesn't matter what the concept is. It doesn't matter what the subject is. It gives you the principles that anyone can very easily apply. So I always ask people this. Thank you. If we can switch back to, if we can stop sharing them for 1 minute, we're going to come back to this prompt in a minute. I always ask people, when I meet you as a learner, the first question I ask you is, what type of learner are you? And people say, what's that? I'm a learner. I say, oh, I say, no. Every single human being on planet Earth has a preferred hand for writing. So if I wanted you to write your name now and I gave you the pen on your left hand and you're right-handed, what do? You switch it. So you go for your preferred hand for writing. You already have it. If you're playing football, most people have a preferred leg for scoring. Every human being on planet Earth has a preferred way of learning. But the schools and our institutions are traditional and only has one way of teaching. Let me say this slowly. There are some of us that can write better with our left hand. So we write quicker with our left hand. Our writing is very, very great with our left hand. If you now give us a pen and say, write it with your right hand, it becomes a problem. Because that's how we always, and that's how we've always written, and that's how we develop. So what then happens? I'm guilty of this because I'm part of the institutions. But a while back, I found out I was wrong. I noticed there were some students, when they wrote the exam in May, they did badly. And then when they rewrote the exam in September, they did better. And I therefore wanted to find out what they did. It's the same student. So if IQ is a fixed figure, then the grades of the students should not improve. It should be exactly the same. So I researched and found out, I asked questions, and then I realized that there are some students that prefer to see concepts demonstrated, and therefore they understand. There are some students that prefer to hear concept discussed, not demonstrated. Listen to this. The first one is demonstrated, the second one is discussed. So the first one is visual. The second one is auditory. That means they hear. And then there's another group of people that learn from doing. So they participate. So they cannot memorize one reaction, one reagent, one reaction, and then one catalyst, and then that leads to a product. They can't imagine that. They need to do it themselves. And once they've done it, it's like going to your brother's house the first time. You check Google Map, you check the map, and you check the number, and then you go there. The second time, you check. The third time, you don't, because you've done it the first time. The second time, the third time, it comes natural to you. So there are some people that like doing, and then there's a blended. But in our educational system, we don't recognize any of this at all. I have a class, a lecture hall of 150 students. I give all 150 students one textbook, particularly one black and white textbook. And I say, this is the recommended textbook. If you read it and you are smart, you pass. If you read it and you don't pass, you're not smart. That's the mentality that was big, if you like, that was given to us. It was handed down to us by our intellectual fathers. And it was handed out to them by their intellectual fathers. It was handed out to them so it came, I traced it to Kensington Palace. I found out that those of you that are unfamiliar with Kensington Palace is where Queen Victoria was born. And Queen Victoria and the Victorians were the people that designed our current educational system. So our current educational system we're running is not our system. It's the Victorian system of giving 150 students one black and white textbook and saying, all of you should learn by reading text. I found out nobody, no human being on earth has a preferred way of learning by reading text, by learning new concepts by reading text. And when I found that out, Mark, are you able to pull that up for me? I need you to pull out BAN textbook. If you can go on your Google, those of you on Clubhouse, open a new browser and type in BAN, like ban. Stop using it, make it illegal. Textbook, TEXT, then book. BAN recommended textbook, and then Professor Chris Imafidon. If you can put that on your Google, and please, or put it on any of your search engine, your preferred search engine, I don't have to be specific. Those of you on Twitter Spaces that don't have access to our visual demo here, please go and do the same thing. Type BAN textbook. This is where that quote came from. And Mark, if you're able to share that with us here, BAN textbook, Professor Chris Imafidon, and then see what the media gave the word about what I said on textbook. This is the context. If you're writing an exam this June, and all you rely on is your recommended textbook, the best marks you can score is about 30 or 31%. If you rely on the recommended textbook, yeah, thank you. Can you pull it? I want to see the headline. Good. I want to see the headline. Keep going. Good. I want to see the headline. Because the headline, yes. Can you see that? Please, I want you to get a screenshot of this. If you're on this call, get a screenshot of this. If you're on Facebook Live, get a screenshot of it because you have access to it. If you're on Instagram, please get a screenshot. Of course, if you're on Zoom, get a screenshot. It says, ban textbook, says father whom nurtured countdown prodigy and Marie Imafidon. So the reason I'm saying you should ban textbook is the recommended textbook does not give the beginner opportunity to learn the foundations of any concept. It doesn't. So, but what they didn't tell you was what I said they should be given instead. When I said ban textbook, I said give them something more juicy after you've identified how they learn. If they're auditory, tell them to watch podcasts. They go listen to podcasts. And then they understand. Like most of you have siblings or neighbors or wife or husband that likes listening to radio. They are auditory learners. They prefer to listen to radio. And once they listen to radio, they already pick up the news. When you get home to put on the television, they are bored. They go do something else. Meanwhile, there are others that want to see television. Once they watch it on television, they don't need to bother about radio. So those are two classes of people in your house right now. One is auditory and the other one is visual. And then the others that like doing, they go to the kitchen, they do things, or they go out, they do, after doing, they don't need to, and then there's a blended one. So if you do not know how best you learn, then don't subject yourself to any examination because that's false. You are examining somebody without knowing, first of all, fundamentally, how that person learns. So what do you think you're going to get? Compromise. What do you think you're going to get? Distorted results. So every single person on this call, I hope you understand this. You better, first and foremost, establish how best you learn. How best you learn. You, not your friend, not your neighbor, not your sister, not your brother. How best you learn. You can have twins. One twin will have a preferred way of learning, and at the second twin, they are twins. They came out of the same womb at the same time. They drink the same water. They're in the same house, brought up by the same parents. But disparities in how they learn. So how can a school put 150 people in the same place or 30 people in the same class and expect all of them, as if they are robots, to learn exactly the same way? One. Two, at the same pace. That, to me, is criminal. For you to say because children are all 7-year-old or 19-year-old or 21-year, I don't care what age you're looking at. Learning type and style is not age dependent. It's dependent on the individual. Please, can you put that down? I want you, those of you that are on Facebook Live, to open and put that down now. Just open a new post and type it in bold prints. Type it in broad prints. The way you learn is much more important than your ability to learn. Please put that down. If you're on Clubhouse, just go to the chat box there, put there. The way you learn is much more important. Much more important. So if I haven't established how you learn, I'm flogging a dead horse. And if you want a copy of this, I think we can share this in the chat box on Zoom. If you want a copy of this full article that was published in the Times of London in 2021, January 2021, we are very happy for you to take that as a gift and read it and then study it. Let me tell you, read means you just came through what was said. Study means you read what was said and then you also read between the lines. So when I said at the beginning that every single person on this call have a genius code in them, this is what I meant. That if you don't identify the best way you learn, and you just give everybody the same textbook and make a funny assumption that all of us learn exactly the same way, don't be surprised. Don't be disappointed when you get the results you get. Then, thank you for sharing the screen. I'm going to go off now. If you can pause sharing the screen, we're going to come back to the prompts we were sharing earlier, and I'm going to give you a URL. So if Mark can pull up the screen now. So the next thing is when we started reading at primary school, we were told to read out loud so the teacher can hear, rightly so, and correct whether we're misreading or missound words. And that was a great thing to do then. The only trouble is that habit got developed. That habit then carried on from the 3rd grade to the 4th grade to the 5th grade, or if you don't use the grading system, if you use the class system from the 1st class to 2nd class, if you don't, or you use the primary system from primary 3 to primary 4, it now continued when you were supposed to update it, when I was supposed to update it to stop saying words out, the school system forgot to tell us. And so we vocalize words when we read. And when we're reading to ourselves, we sub-vocalize words. That means we say it quietly, but to ourselves. So we move our lips. And each time you move your lips when you are reading anything, it slows you down. Your mind wanders off because the mind can pick up information at a higher pace. So during our, we have a speed reading course. For those of you that have not gone on speed reading, please think about it. Out of interest, how many of us on Clubhouse, if you know your reading speed, please put it in the box. What's your reading speed? Please put it in the box. If you don't know, just write, don't know. Those of you on Twitter Spaces, please can you go and put it in that comment section, what your reading speed is. Because if you're learning right now, you have a reading speed. If you're working, you have a reading speed. You have a speed. That's why you went and bought some books, great books. You spent your money, you bought a book, and then you found out 2 years later you haven't read the book. Some of you haven't even read the book 3 years later. Do you know why? It's not because you don't like the book. Do you know why? Can anybody guess why? You spent your money, bought a book, and up till now, you have not read it. How can you buy a car and you haven't driven it? Or you buy orange juice and you have not drunk it? I'm going to lacerate it today. I'm going to open that boil and literally make sure that it leaks out and it never gets onto you again. Your reading habit and preferences were formed using generalized reading methods. So you have a reading speed. And I'm going to show you before we're off today. Remember, those of you that are active, you'll get a reward. I told you at the beginning. If you're on Facebook Live and you are inactive, that means you're not putting any comments. I ask you to write whether or not you know your reading speed. You didn't react. Good. You're going to lose out. The ticket will be given to somebody else that responds. We're not giving you reward for excellence. Now we're giving you reward for participation, because we know that if you participate, you will end up on top of the class. If you don't participate, if you are just dormant or just listening, we know that the difference is going to be very minimal. And the prize for participation is a royal invitation. Let me say this slowly. If you participate, those of you that participate actively, whether you are on Twitter Spaces or what they call X now, whether you are on Facebook Live, if you're in Clubhouse, if you're on YouTube, if you put in your comments, you get royal invitation, period. Period. I don't care what anybody has told you before. You get to see the king and or the queen, because you know that all this week in London, in Paris, even in the old, what they call what they used to call the Soviet Union, Russia, all these countries are celebrating VE Day. You heard about Winston Churchill. They're celebrating VE Day. Today, if you were on television, you will have seen, or if you follow me, you will have seen some of the posts we put up. Everybody was in where? Central London. The whole of Westminster was locked down or shut down. No cars could come in, no buses could come in. Every single person joined the big military parade, where either waving to the veterans. It's a celebration of veterans. That's what it's called. Celebration of veterans that fought the war, and it's the 80th anniversary of the end of the war. So today, Monday, there was a military parade. The entire Parliament Square was shut down. The Mall was shut down. Whitehall was shut down, and no cars were allowed in. And the king has to stand there and take a salute. The queen, the prime minister, all the big shots in the military, all of them were there. Why am I saying this? Because tomorrow, today is just the opening ceremony or the beginning. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, or you follow me on Facebook, or you follow me on Twitter or Spaces, you will have seen some of the images that came through this morning, early this morning. And then lunchtime, they fly past. Why am I telling you this? Tomorrow, it continues. There's an exclusive session at the Tower of London. 41, is it 41? 41 gun salutes tomorrow. If you want the invitation to attend that, so be active. We're going to send the invitation. You can take time off work. If you're not in London, you can still join online. Doesn't matter. Yes, and on Thursday, there's a church service. So there's a lot happening, celebrating. The French, the Germans are the people not celebrating. Germans are not. But the Americans, all the veterans are coming down to London, and they are celebrating. So if you want a special royal invitation, please participate, because you will be rewarded. If you can't make it, you can also win a book. I'll tell you more about that later. But I just need you to understand that your reading speed will determine the outcome of your next exam. And your reading speed was not born, it was not given to you at birth. It's like Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt runs very fast when he's been practicing and training. And when he forgot to practice or train and he was doing a lot of endorsement, guess what happened? His training mate beat him. He was a world record holder. He was Olympic champion, Commonwealth champion, world champion, but he was beaten by somebody else. Why? Speed is a function of training. So I'm going to tell you, I'm giving you one secret, one tiny secret of how to increase your reading speed. Do not move your mouth. Do not sub-vocalize. If you move your mouth or move your lips when you are reading, it slows you down. Number two, do not read one word at a time. Group the words together, 4 or 5 words at the same time. That will double your speed. Number three, use a guide. Yes, use a guide. In primary school, you used to use a pen. This time you can use a ruler so that you don't go back to the same line more than once. Okay. Quiz time. What do you think is the speed of the average reader? What is the average speed for adults in the US, in Japan? It doesn't matter what language. By the way, it doesn't matter what language. What do you think is the reading speed? Because your ability to read is a function of your speed. What do you think is the average reading speed of an adult? Please write it there, come in. You guess it by not asking any of your LLMs. Just guess it. Don't ask any of your LLMs because I want you to do it yourself. Thank you, those in Clubhouse. Thank you. Thank you. You have been bold. Some of you are very bold. Thank you for those on Twitter Spaces. Thank you for those on Instagram. Thank you for your comments. What is your, thank you, Giwa, thank you. Every single person, please put in what do you think is the average reading speed? I'm not asking for your reading speed. I'm just asking for what do you think is the average reading speed? Can anybody share that? Share that. Go to the chat box, put in. Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. Yes. 200. Another person, 238 per minute. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. You are right. 200 words a minute. That's the average. That's the average. Now, if you are a trained reader, and I don't know why you shouldn't be trained reader, you can double that, right? If you're a trained reader. Now, if you're a really advanced reader that participates in competition, like me, you can get to 2,500 words a minute. Let me say this slowly. Let me say this slowly. I'm saying this slowly now. The average person reads 200 words a minute. Now, imagine how that person can compete with me that can get up to 2,500. Now, the average EIE student, listen to this because they do timed exercises. That means the time, we give them time, they give them work to do, and then we tell them to stop. They stop. If they finish it, fine. If they don't, that's it. So we train them in the act of speed reading every single session, every session. Because when you go and train for football, before you start playing any ball, you do some press-ups, you do some exercises. So they do timed exercises. So the average EIE student hits up to 1,500 words a minute, 1,000 words a minute. So they always go for their exams and they complete all the questions. Why? Because they have been timed over and over again. We don't give them exam practice questions. We give them exam practice papers. Please write this down. That's a big difference. Here's the difference. Schools, normally we just give you questions of photosynthesis at the end of photosynthesis, and those are exam type questions. Or algebra at the end of algebra class. Those are questions, like what you see in the exam. Now, EIE doesn't do that. And we discourage every single person from doing that. Do you know what we do? We give you exam paper. So your exam paper may be a 2-hour paper, a 1-hour paper, or a 1.5-hour paper. So you take that paper, you get your pen, you sit down and pretend as if you have an invigilator and you set your time. So you put your stopwatch on and then you answer the first question and then the second question and the third question. When it's time, the stopwatch rings or the alarm rings and you stop. If you've answered all the questions, fine. If you've answered only one question, fine. But you have to stop. Because we are mimicking what will happen in the exam. So you're not just doing exam style question, you're doing exam style question under, yes, you got me, you heard me right, timed conditions. Because we don't want anyone to go to the exam and say, oh, do you know, Lord, I only answered the first 5 questions. I didn't know that the 7th and the 8th one were so easy because I ran out of time. If you know the number of students that fail in the exam because they ran out of time, not because they didn't know the answer to the question. So if you are doing your exam preparation for your summer exams, one thing you must take away today is that when you get your bank of past papers, not past questions, you must sit down and time yourself. That's one. Number two, and most significantly, there are some exam papers that the topic you require to answer the question is not obvious from the question. Let me say this slowly. When they give you an exam paper now, when you read the first question, your brain will go back to which topic are they interrogating. When you match the topic, then you are able to give the precise answer. In a subject like mathematics, they can ask a question. If you try Pythagoras theorem, because they draw a triangle there and they ask you, find the length of AB. And your brain is saying, do I use standard trigonometry? Do I use Pythagoras theorem? Which of the knowledge I have will give me the right answer here? And you spend precious time trying to recall what to apply. Now, if you have been doing exam papers, not questions, you will know instantly what they are interrogating, because you will have seen a trend over the years. And you will have seen what is called the LO, learning objectives, because your exam papers, every single examination you're going to write in June is based on LO, your learning objectives. The examiner is testing whether everything you learned has tick box, tick box, tick box, tick box, met the learning objectives. So no questions will be strange. All the questions are consistent with what was written in the learning objective at the beginning of your term or your semester or your academic year. So I hope you're listening to this, because this is a secret that most students cannot understand. So they just revise and revise and revise and revise without understanding this strategy, that what will be examined was known at the beginning of the term. What will be tested was known at the beginning of the semester. What will be examined is listed in your LO, learning objectives. If you understand your learning objectives, you can might as well go to bed, because you know that you're going to hit the exam and knock it down. If you have any questions, I welcome some questions, because we're going to go back to, if you're keen, thank you. Those of you on Clubhouse are asking how to do the speed training. We have an Eventbrite page. We have an Eventbrite page. If you're keen on joining the speed reading course or speed boosting, doing some speed boosting exercises, because I read 14 newspapers every morning, 14 different newspapers every morning before the hour of 7 a.m. Except, of course, I'm relaxed and I'm on holiday. If I'm active, I have to clean every single newspaper. And there's a trick by the way. It doesn't require you to be a genius. I told you originally that number one, you don't sub-vocalize. Remember, I told you that. Number two, you don't read one word at a time. I told you that. And with practice, you find out you can read one whole column like this of 7 or 8 words at the same time. Don't read "the boy is going to school." No, that's wrong. That's how you were taught in elementary school. In real life, you see the boy is going to school because you pick up the key words. I'm not saying scheming. No. You read and you understand. And someone is asking in Twitter Spaces whether that decreases your comprehension. No, sir. Comprehension has nothing at all to do with your speed. Do you know why? Listen to BBC News this evening, or CNN, or CBS, or wherever you get your news from. The newscaster reads, the average newscaster reads at about 400 words a minute. Question I have for you. Do you understand the news when the newscaster reads it? I can make a presumption that you do. So how come the newscaster is reading fast, and yet you grab the story, you understand what they're talking about, and you're reading at half the speed of the newscaster? So you already have told me that you can double your speed. You already have told me that you can double your speed. So those of you that are keen on the speed reading, I think I'll get Mark. Mark, I don't know whether you can get the link up on Eventbrite for anyone that is keen on that. If you're able to sign in for it, we'll do an intensive speed reading set of exercises. That's not a class. That's a workshop. Ladies and gentlemen, if you come on the speed reading, you don't listen. You do. It's a workshop. You do work. So you group the words together. If you're reading on the screen, it's even easier. Thank you. Somebody asked a question, what about if you're reading a PDF on the screen? It's even faster because you use your mouse as a pacer or as a guide. Let me say this slowly. If you have a block of text to read now, if you move your mouse along it as you're reading, you will increase your speed than if you don't use your mouse, you just look at it and start reading. Because your eyes sometimes will come back to read the same line twice. You're wasting time. If not, you can also select all and use the cursor to move it down. So you select the block of text. After reading the first line, you hit the cursor, it goes down, and then down, and then down, and then down. You're going to see that your speed increases. And then this is the last tip. Those of you that need more, please sign in on the Eventbrite session. I'm going to walk you through this. This is the last one. Most of you wear reading glasses or wear glasses. And that means you read better with your glasses than when you remove your glasses, right? You put on your glasses, you read more. You remove your glasses, you read less because you don't see. You have to strain yourself, increase the light. Now, let me tell you one trick. The ophthalmologist will not tell you this. The eye specialist will not tell you this. Listen to this. If you want to read your newspaper or read a book of an A4 size, do you know what you do? You wear the eyepiece that has maximum monovision. Let me say this. Some of you are wearing bifocals. I mean, half of it for reading, half of it for sight. Others are wearing varifocals. I mean, half for reading, the other for sight, and then the other for intermediate distances. I'm telling you this simple truth. If you use your reading glasses that has a wider aperture for reading, you're able to see more words because you don't just have a narrow window. Did you hear that? So read with your reading glasses, dedicated reading glasses. I mean, if you look up, you won't see. If you look down, you will read. Don't use your intermediate glasses. Only use your reading glasses to read if you want to increase your speed. If not, you can go with mediocre speed and read with your driving glasses and your reading glasses. Okay, here is it. Here is on Eventbrite. How to triple your reading glasses, your reading speed. How to boost your earning. Because if you're a doctor, the more you read, remember, if you're involved in research, if you're a lawyer, whatever profession you are in, hey, there is a reading component of it. Are we able to scroll up a little bit? So this, do a screen capture of this. Go to the Eventbrite. Can you see all the actors? Every Hollywood actor, every Hollywood actress, every one of them. I'm telling you, every one of them that has seen the work we've done, every one of them have been involved in one speed reading exercise or the other. Because if you're an actress and they send you the scripts and it takes you 2 weeks to read it, meanwhile, it takes your friends 2 days to read it. Your friends will come back and say, oh, I want that part, or I don't want that part. And meanwhile, you are still reading. You haven't read the entire script yet. So can you see why it is an economic disaster? Disastrous, really, really disastrous. If you rely on schoolboy reading speed, right now, you cannot rely on schoolboy reading speed, or schoolgirl reading speed, or school kid reading speed. You got to boost your reading now. That's the reason why you have unread mails, unread emails. What if one of the emails has a winning lottery numbers? What happens? You lose up. That's why you have unread books that you bought. You bought the books because you haven't changed your reading habits from what you were taught at elementary school, and you are still carrying that on. Okay, Mark, thank you. Can you push this up a little bit? Pull up the Eventbrite. Let's go down. Let me make a point on the objectives, what you are going to gain if you get on this, because we're going to give you a handout. And remember, if you go on this course, thank you, keep going, you will see why 11-year-old kids are able to finish what 16-year-olds struggle with. 16-year-olds struggle with some concept, but 11-year-olds are able to do it. And then all the newspaper reviews, if you next Sunday morning, let me tell you the truth. Next Sunday morning, there will be a group of people that appears on your television. I can guarantee you this. Because it happened last Sunday and it happened the Sunday before. Why? Because there are some of my colleagues that do it. There are some of my trainees, people I've trained and mentored that do it. They call them newspaper review. Do you know why they call them newspaper review? They have read the newspapers that will be published the next day, or what they've got first editions, and they can preview the newspaper. If they were slow readers, someone will say, oh, I don't even have time to finish reading the Metro. I know why you don't have time to finish reading the Metro. Because you read one word at a time, and you say out some words, and then you still think that you cannot use a pacer. I know all the reading habits. When I see people reading on the train, I know exactly what bad reading habits they've acquired. The last tip, but not the least, the last is that every one of us have a preferred eye for reading. You know, like I told you at the beginning, you have a preferred hand for writing, and then you have a preferred hand. You might be left-handed or right-handed. Let me tell you this. If you're on this call, take this home tonight. You have a dominant eye for reading. You are either left dominant or right dominant. This is scientifically proven. If you have any questions about this, don't ask me. Just go to your search engine and say, dominant eye for reading. Go and Google it. You come back and tell me this. We train everyone that has had contact with us. When you read, do you prefer, thank you, somebody's asking a question. Can this reading speed, someone's asking a question, I'm going to come back to that in a minute. So every one of you, everyone, really, I'm not interested in arguing. Displaces your book to the left or to the right. If you had your book like this, and your book is symmetrical, that means your book is right in the center of your face. It's not to the left or to the right. I know what you're doing. You're forcing your eye to read at the same speed. There's what is called binocularity. Bi, two eyes. Ocular, eyes. Bi is two, ocular is eyes. Binocularity. Please type this now. B-I-N-O-C-U-L-A-R-I-T. R-I-T-Y. Binocularity. They don't teach this in school. They're too busy. They won't teach this in school. And the ophthalmologist is too busy. He won't even sit down to explain this to you. That when Ronald Reagan was president of the US, he read his scripts displayed to one side. It was not central. If it's central, it slows him down. Remember, Ronald Reagan was an actor. Is anybody old enough to remember that he was famous for certain movies and films before he ever entered politics. And does anybody care enough to watch any of the old black and white movies of Ronald Reagan? The same thing as the late Prince Philip. Every single person you've seen in public, reading or acting or going through scripts, identified their dominant eye, identified it. So you have a dominant eye for reading, and I can show you, when you come on the course, I will show you how to identify it. It's very easy, very easy. Even a 4-year-old can tell you his or dominant eye once we give them the training. And once you know your dominant eye, you displace your material towards the left eye if your left eye is dominant, or towards the right eye if your right eye is dominant. So your reading speed is important. If not, you will not complete all the exam questions that you know, and then somebody that knows less will get more marks. It says, somebody's asking a question on Zoom. Can this reading fast speed be applicable to engineering courses involving quantification? Of course. Of course. If you ever read, yes, whether they be numbers or figures, it doesn't matter. Reading is looking at text and making meanings from it. That's what reading is. You're looking at text and making meanings from it. So if you're an engineer and you have to write report, or you have to read reports, or you have to analyze data and write it. If you're a software engineer, it doesn't matter. A civil engineer, a mechanical engineer, it doesn't matter. Every engineering field or discipline requires reading. In fact, every profession. That is one skill that they call transferable skills, right? You've heard people saying transferable skills like communication, collaboration, okay? Reading is one of them. The Prime Minister reads, he has to read his speech, and he has to prepare for his PMQs or question time in Parliament. The editor reads because he has to read the story he's going to publish. The doctor reads because you understand what I'm talking about, CME, continuous medical education. The driver reads. Every human being reads. It is a life skill. It's not an academic skill. Thank you, those of you that are on Clubhouse, put that down. Reading is a life skill. It is not a classroom skill. Please, can you type that? Everybody type that down. Type that down because I need that to sink in. Please, if you are on Twitter Spaces, I want you to go to comment section and say that reading is or equals to life skill, comma, not classroom skill or not academic skill. Before you sign a mortgage, you have to read the contract. If not, you might be signing your life away. Every one of us reads. Oh, there's a funny story. Somebody was telling me when we did the first training, they said they had a 3-year plan. Listen to this. A 3-year plan to complete reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I just fell up. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I said, a 3-year plan? How can you take 3 years? 3 years, thank you for putting that. 3 years, 1, 2, 3 years to read the entire thing. I worked through the person, and in 2 weeks, not 3 weeks, not 3 months, 2 weeks, the person was able to not only read, but annotate. That means write comments at the end of each chapter, the Old Testament. And they went on and they did New Testament. So less than a month, the person completed what they were planning to do in 3 years. So please, I don't want you to do in 3 years what you can do in a month. And the fact that you are trying to do it in 3 years is a function of what you have been taught and trained. It has nothing to do with your ability. Please, please, nobody is born stamped at birth saying this is the maximum speed you ever do. No, 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 no. Every one of us has the capacity to double our reading speed, increase our reading speed, and become editors. Oh, there was somebody that sent me a personal thank you message. The person now works for a publishing firm. And you know, in publishing firm, all you do is read manuscripts and make comments. Read manuscript and make comments. So going the slow snail speed is one way of doing it. That's fine. But I would rather clean up everything in my junk box, read it, and delete it myself instead of having to rely on bad habits that we're given in school. Very bad reading habits we're given in school. I must tell you that. Because the number of words we were given to learn every year increased. Meanwhile, the speed of learning did not increase. Let me say this slowly. When you're in your first year, you're given books that are pictorial. Second year, you're given books that have more text. Third year, you have more text. Fourth year, now the number of words have doubled from the previous year. So how many of us have more time, therefore, in the day? None. We have the same 24 hours time. So if you now rely on how you read, no wonder reading becomes a chore rather than a pleasurable exercise because of the way you and I, we are conditioned to read with our lips moving. So when you come on the course, by the way, I don't get paid for this. I've got more serious ways and better ways of making money. So if you go on the course, is run by charity. That's why it's going for 30 odd pounds. If you want a proper speed reading course that will give you all the ingredients you need, like this, commercially, is $2,000 commercially. But because the excellence in education, like you know, works with charities and it's charitable, that's the reason why you're paying less than the course material if we're going to do it commercially. So we do that, and let me take some questions. I'll take some questions and we'll go back to prompting. AI, using AI to prompt and using AI to revise before we go on to using AI to tackle your assignments. Thank you. Those of you on Facebook, you are absolutely active. The most active group so far are Facebook and YouTube is coming along. I think Zoom is coming a distant third. Thank you. Reading is a life skill, not academic. Thank you. Reading is life skill. Reading is life skill. Thank you. So you have BF, DW, and PF topping the Zoom class in terms of activity. And those of you that are on this Zoom call, please do not forget to email us, especially the three names I mentioned now, so that you can get details of your rural engagement tomorrow. It's at the Tower of London. Tower Hill or Bank or Monument is the nearest train station. And it's part of the VE Day and part of the anniversary. Okay, thank you very much. Let's Mark, can we go back? We can share this, please. If you can share this, the event brightly, if you can share it in the YouTube comment section and share the link, more importantly, in the chat box of the Zoom group. The rest of you, what you need to do, if you are joining this class on audio, all you need to do, like I told you before, I told you there are some people that are very good audio learners. You know, there's a gentleman called Lord David. Is Lord David Blunkett. He's one of the finest audio learners I've ever seen on planet Earth. He is quote unquote blind, so he doesn't see. He gets all his information through the auditory system. He's trained himself. His name is David Blunkett. Please don't believe me. Just go and type in there, Lord David Blunkett. He used to be the education secretary when Tony Blair was Prime Minister of the UK. You will see what I'm trying to tell you. It's not theory. It's what people have done. If you know anyone that is visually handicapped or blind, they will tell you this as well. They are very used to using the braille, or they buy all the audio books on Amazon. They don't buy the printed book. They don't buy the Kindle books. And they listen. They play the books. They listen to the books. And they capture the essence of the book. So some of you that are auditory learners should really don't be buying printed books, buy audio books, period. So that's that. If we can go off, just copy the link. If you're on Clubhouse, please go into your search box and type in Excellence in Education Program, and then type in the word Eventbrite and put how to 3x your reading speed and boost your earning. How to 3x your reading speed and boost your earning. Just type in Excellence in Education Program, Eventbrite, and then type in how to 3x your reading speed and boost your learning. The first output will take you straight to Eventbrite, and then you can indicate there. I have a code, Genius 50. If you type in Genius 50 into this Eventbrite now, or in the next 24 hours, or I'm getting myself in trouble. Before midnight, you will have this price even reduced further. You get 50% discount for being on this call. For being on this call, my gift to you is that if you book to join the speed reading course to boost your reading, and I'll take you through step by step, not just making a tangential reference to what you can do now, not just giving you tips, step by step, what you need to do in the morning, why reading in the morning is most important to you. First thing you do in the morning after brushing your teeth is read. What happens to the brain at the first few hours of waking up, and how that can help you develop your reading speed. What you do last thing at night in terms of reading, how you practice, you take exercises. You will find that everyone at work will notice that you read differently and fast. In Parliament, you people see me in Parliament, this is one key skill. Because when they publish the report, the politicians don't know how to read. So they give the politicians what is called an executive summary. That means somebody else tells the politician what is important in a document that is 550 pages. Isn't that laughable? Isn't that laughable? But if you could read it yourself, you will sift out what is important, because what may be important to you in Devon will not be important to you if you were representing an Irish constituency. And what is important to you in Scotland will not be important to you if you're in Ireland. So what is important to you as a graduate student may not be important to you as an undergraduate student. This is the reason why not having the sharpest learning skill is a massive disadvantage and will impact your life forever, period. Because reading is a life skill. Okay, now let's go back to our prompt. Let's use our advantage of understanding AI prompt to flush out the competition you have in the class. If you have any competition, if you're not topping your class, it's because the competition is topping the class. And the only reason why they're topping the class is because they're using Superior 2. I'm just going to show you. Let's go back to Perplexity again. And the only reason why anybody on this call has not used Grok, Metal AI, Gemini, or any of the other ChatGPT is because you heard a rumor that if you use it, you're cheating. Or you heard from the headlines of some tabloid newspaper that is unfair for you to use AI. Let me make it clear now, everybody abundantly clear, that since 2009, we have been using AI, period. Long before they said AI is AI, we have been using AI. So if you are not using AI, you are committing a sin against yourself and the creator that gave you this tool. Some people abuse it. I understand that. I'm not going to say because some people abuse knives and stab each other, therefore I will not have a knife in my house. So some people exploit others with it. Great. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to look at it and see how I can use it. Okay. So now we gave it a prompt and we said we wanted to deploy the same secrets that excellence in education students who have set world records in mathematics. Deploy the same secrets of excellence in education students who have set multiple Guinness World Records so that we can ace our undergraduate course in then you put the subject you are studying. Put the study you're studying there. In whatever subject you're studying, law, engineering, physics, it doesn't matter. And I want to do as good as they are doing. No, we can't. Sorry, Mark, we can't. We have to put one. If you put three different, okay, this is where prompt engineering is funny. This is why I laugh at people when they say that if you put things in AI, you all get the same result. Of course you don't. Of course you don't. If you use the same AI, you still not get the same result. You have to use the same prompt to get the same result. And the prompt is a function of what you think you want the AI to do for you. Please write this down. Prompt is what you tell the AI. The AI, just assume it's a 4-year-old that's very enthusiastic. If you send a 4-year-old to go to the fridge and get orange juice for you, the 4-year-old will not give you apple juice. It will look for orange juice and bring it back for you. If there is no apple, if the juice you requested for is not available, it will say it's not there. So please be specific. What do you want the AI to do for you? In business, you might want the AI to look at your competitor and tell you what makes your competitor unique and successful. We've done this over and over again in marketing, in coding, in programming. We've done it over and over again. You give it specific instructions, full details. Don't give it a one-sentence prompt. I don't like it. The minimum number of sentences I put in my prompt, the minimum is 5. Most times I give it a paragraph. I tell it a story. I give it the background. I want you to be able to help you with this, and this, because I know you've been able to help others before. Therefore, I want this to come up. So now I say, yes, okay, somebody's saying an undergraduate law. Let's switch from physics to law. An undergraduate law degree student, and I need to top the class. Therefore, suggest the most easily digestible resources online that will help a left-handed, listen to this, I'm saying this very slowly, a left-handed, right-brained, accelerated reader like me. So can you see what prompt I'm giving it now? I'm giving a detailed prompt. So when I give it a detailed prompt, it will then go ahead and then you can do a search now. And please, before you hit your search button, please can you copy this prompt, because we are going to put the same prompt in Gemini. We're hoping to put the same prompt in Grok. And I need you to see the difference between one LLM and the other. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's hit that. Now, who can see that? Look at the first paragraph. I need you to look at the first paragraph, because the instructions are there. Everything that you always wanted to learn has been learned by your AI. Everything you always wanted to draw has been drawn by your AI. Every single thing, every single one. So can you see now? It breaks it down. Law in action, BBC, visual explanation, law surviving guide. That's on YouTube. Legal ego. That's on YouTube. Let's keep going. I have not seen this before. Let me tell you the truth. I've not seen this before. But it doesn't matter. I don't need to see it. If it's a field of knowledge that is available to humans, it's easy. If it's never been taught on planet Earth before, then it becomes difficult. Okay, thank you. Can we try a new LLM? We're tired of perplexing. Let's try a new LLM. If we can get Grok, let's go on to Grok. If not, let's do Gemini. Thank you. And this is applicable, by the way, to your coursework as well. Yeah, of course, anyone tell you that using AI is a fraud, you better tell them that going on DLR and be charged the same amount of money as Central Line is a fraud. Because for DLR, Docklands Light Railway, for those of you in London, you will understand this. If you're not in London, the next time you're in London, try and go anywhere in the east end of London or the southeast. You will discover something on the DLR. Number one, there are no train drivers. There are no train guards. But they charge you exactly the same thing as a Central Line that has train guards, train drivers, and is old-fashioned. And they charge you exactly the same thing as the Piccadilly line. The Docklands Light Railway is automated. There are no drivers. So when Elon Musk boasts of telling you there's going to be a driverless vehicle, he just told a lie. Because since 1987, we've experimented with driverless vehicles. One example is the monorail in Atlanta, Georgia. The second one that comes to mind, Queen Elizabeth, bless her soul, blessed memory, she will tell you this, quite honestly. I don't have time, I'll share that with you, for those of you that are on the EIE program. So if you have a son or a daughter, or you are keen on studying anything, if you join the EIE, you'll see this. We listen to this. This is very important. Very important. The Docklands Light Railway does not require a driver. It travels all the way from Bank to Lewisham, through Popular, through Canary Wharf. Listen. Same London has the Jubilee line that goes all the way around London, ends in Stratford. It requires a driver. Technology has overtaken the direction and speed of vehicles. And if you're intimidated by the lies of the tabloids, you'll be subjected to their limitations. So please, try something more exciting in life. Okay, yeah, here is Gemini. Is it Gemini or? Yes, Gemini. Thank you. See what happened now? We're putting exactly the same response. Listen, we're putting the same response, the same prompt into a different LLM AI tool. Can you see what happened now? It's giving us two different options. If you're right brain, remember, you're more visual, broad. If you're left brain, you're more specific and particular. Can you see the outcome? The same prompt, we gave it to a different LLM. So if you are doing your coursework and you use only one LLM, excuse me, I'm going to grab some water in a minute. Can you see what happens? If you are right-brained, look at what happens to your learning. If you're on this call, you are on YouTube. Please, can you capture the screen? If you are on Facebook Live, I want to capture the screen. Please do capture the screen. If you're on YouTube, capture the screen. Because this is what I call personalized learning. You now have AI is your specific teacher teaching you the way you learn. So if you are left brain, look at what happens. If you are left-handed, look, can you see what happens? So it is very individual. So no two people can get the same outcome. One. And those of you that are afraid of turning in, forget it. Because I do not encourage my students to cut and paste. The output from your LLM is what is called the first draft. So you read it, you personalize it, and you customize it, giving specific examples that is individual to you. So that's the reason why my students don't get through this thing called plagiarism, where turn it in says you are 25%, 10%, 90%. No, it's not applicable to you because of how you are using the tool. You're not using it for self-destruction. You are using it for what is called initial research. I have ChatGPT right now on my WhatsApp phone, on my WhatsApp as a person. I have Mental AI as a person. Not like I have my mother's telephone number and it's a person. I have a direct line from my WhatsApp account directly to, you got it, ChatGPT. So your revision plan, every single thing can be done for you. And then you are now the chief executive. You can edit it. That means remove some things, add some things, but it's giving you a skeletal framework. Everybody writes skeletal framework. To guide you, to encourage you, to give you ideas. And when I attend meetings, those of you that follow me on social media, if you don't follow me on social media, I know you're following somebody else and they entertain you. My social media, I will never tell you what I have for breakfast. I will never tell you what my dog is doing, what my cat is doing. I'll never tell you anything personal. It's all how to help you achieve more, inspire you, discuss how you can be better. So now I need every single person on this call to understand this. If you don't understand this, you've spent the last 60 minutes or so being entertained. The output from the same LLM by 6 different people that think 6 different ways will always be different. So is your thinking, how you see the problem you are solving, how you see the essay you've been asked to write, that is more important than your output. So that is the reason why I'm putting things here for you to see that when you get any output from ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, Mental AI, Perplexity, you are not allowed to copy that and paste it and give it to your lecturer to mark. You are allowed only to read it, modify it, include new illustrations in terms of visuals, illustrations in terms of case studies, and verify every fact there. Did you hear what I said? You got to fact check everything that comes out. Everything on that sheet of paper that you're going to submit, or that Word document you're going to, before you submit it, you read the line, read it line by line, and you with a view to changing it. And if you understand this, I have a job for you in the summer. I have some internship for you in the summer that is looking at virtual assistants and AI assistants in social media. Sorry, my time is up. I'm up on the time. I've just hit the button. And thank you for those of you that joined. If you enjoyed today's session and you want a follow-up, or if you have a question, is anybody on this call, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse, are there any specific things that you want us to tackle right now before we pull the curtains, so that you don't have any whatsoever? Why 6 years? Those of you that got the video at the beginning, fine, I'm probably going to, like I promised, I'm going to give you that. Please, can you share? Yeah, if you're keen on the internship, you need to go to my LinkedIn page. My LinkedIn page says hiring right now. It's live hiring. I need you to say that you were in this Zoom meeting, or you were on this Facebook live call, or you were on this YouTube, because those of you are on YouTube, or you were on Clubhouse. That's fine. It doesn't matter what platform you're in. And then connect with me and optimize your LinkedIn page to make it consistent with what we desire for AI. If you don't optimize it, my system is going to come back with an error message saying that your profile does not match the position that we are doing. If you don't know anything about, or you don't use them, LinkedIn optimization, you already know what to do now, because we just went through the same principle, what to do. And I hope you took the screenshots of what we shared. On that, if that's the only question we have. Oh, someone is still asking about the Eventbrite link. Please share it. And the code to get you 50% is Genius 50. That is G for gold, E for echo, N for November, I for India, U for uniform, S for sugar. And then the number 5 and the number 0. So Genius 50 will give you 50% off the session that will take you from reading 200 words or less a minute. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So the link is now there. Whoever is on the chat box, the link is there. Click on the link and make sure you use the code. If you use the code tomorrow, it probably will have expired. Then if you have younger ones, niece, nephew, cousins that have exams they're writing in June and they're panicking, or they're not confident they will score the highest marks, please go on the Excellence in Education website or email info at excellenceineducation.org.uk and let them join the training group. It's never late. It's never too late. It's better you do it late than not do it. And follow what the school is telling you. If you follow what the school is telling you, you will get mediocre results. Don't follow. If you follow what the institutional position is, you will get mediocre results. You've got to follow the individual, customized. So thanks for listening, and I hope you have gained one or two things here. Are we able to share the BBC video, BBC interview? I would like us to sign off by playing the BBC. I'd like us to sign off by playing the BBC video on what EIA students have achieved in the past. Yes, thank you.
It's 17:06 GMT, the BBC World Service. Coming up, a father who's developed a teaching method that has helped all 5 of his children get into Oxford University. He says he can help children develop the same learning techniques, particularly in maths. Now, students in many parts of the world are preparing to start their next academic year in September. For many 16 to 17-year-olds, they may be embarking on higher school certificates, A-levels, for instance, or the International Baccalaureate. But imagine being a primary school child between the age of, say, 7 and 13, taking these exams and passing well. Well, it's a massive feat that has been achieved by students of the Excellence in Education Academy, run by Professor Chris Imafidon. All 5 of his children achieved outstanding marks in their O-levels and A-level exams while still in primary school, and they've gone on to university. Well, Chris Imafidon has passed these skills down to other children, particularly in the area of East London. And he joined me in the studio with 2 of his young students who've just passed Maths GCSE. It's 9-year-old Frances and 13-year-old Deborah. She began by telling me how the professor helped them master maths.
I found it something not hard like what other people around my age might expect it to be, but I just saw it as a subject which I can enjoy.
People say practice makes perfect, and if you can apply that to maths, you can really see it as a game.
Okay, so Professor, you taught them well. They've got the answers down pat for a start. But what is the Excellence in Education methodology? How do you convince 9-year-olds like Francis or 13-year-olds like Deborah that maths is a game?
It's showing them. I wish I had a mouse here. I would have clicked on online and pulled up Manga High and say, okay, you have a robot moving across, and the second robot coming, and the third robot coming, and they ask you how many robots do you have. You just type in 3 and hit 3, and then it says, wow, good. And then you say, okay, we have mummies coming from this side, 2 and 4 coming from that side. How many do you now have? So that's an addition game. Then you can have a subtraction game, and you can have a multiplication game. See, anything we do over and over again becomes easy for us. Anything. It's just pattern recognition and following the numbers. But if you bring it to the classroom and write it down in pen and paper, then people are, I'm afraid of maths.
But here we have Francis and Deborah. What did you use in order to spike their interest? You know, you have equations, you have algebra. Yeah. How do you break those down so that youngsters can understand it?
Oh, easy. Come with a bowl of fruits. Have bananas, have apples, have oranges, and say count the number of fruits. So you count 2 A's, apples, plus 2 B's, banana, and then oranges. So you're just sorting things out. And for him, because he supports Tottenham, he has to follow the...
Oh dear, I support Arsenal.
Bad rivalry. And he knows that for the football, it's a game of numbers. We have a league table. There's a match on Saturday. If your team plays and wins, what position will they be on the league table? That's a technically mathematical exercise. You say X unknown. If you win, X becomes 3 points. If you lose, X becomes 0. If you draw, X becomes 1. But he's still thinking football. But he's using mathematical equation to work out 2 or 3 unknowns and say, okay, we'll be third on the league table.
Deborah, when Professor Imafidon first came to you and your parents, how old were you?
It was 10 years old.
So just 3 years ago. How was it when the professor first gave you his formulas and algebra? Was it easy for you to understand?
It was easy for me to understand because Dr. Chris used real life problems and like real life scenarios. It helped me understand.
So what kind of scenarios made sense? If you're not a Tottenham fan like Francis, for instance, what kind of things brought maths alive for you?
Because I like this TV program called The Next Step.
Okay. It's a dance program, isn't it? Yeah, my daughter watches it.
If one of the dancers leave, how many dancers will
Okay,
be
so
left?
we're going to count
What will
down.
happen if they lose
If
or if they
you're
win a
able
game? So
to,
it's like it brings things
join
which
us, like
I
I said,
enjoy
send
in
an
life
email to us
to help me.
and we'll be able to get things done for you. And I can say